Hello and welcome. This is my wife Mary and I'm Ed, and we're Branch Davidian Seventh-Day Adventists. We're excited you're joining us today. We present or expound on a principle or belief related to the SDA Sabbath School Quarterly each week. The Sabbath School study this quarter is entitled The Least of These. This week's lesson is entitled Blueprint for a Better World and discusses the wise plan God has given His people in order to live a blessed life in a community which involves both being blessed ourselves and blessing others too.
Sabbath's lesson tells us that God has given us a blueprint through laws, regulations, festivals, and practices that are designed to facilitate this end. We all know how important the tithe is in achieving this. The money supports the ministers and other necessities for evangelism. Deuteronomy 14:22 tells us to pay tithe, which means a tenth of your increase, and should be faithfully paid by rich and poor alike. The word increase means profit. Therefore, your tithes should be taken off your net gain after taxes and business expenses are deducted. But what about the laity? What is God's blueprint to care for the needs of His faithful people who have fallen sick or have become in want? Wednesday's lesson discusses the biblical blueprint for caring for the poor and sick in our church community and is called second tithing. Never should the faithful church members depend upon the world. You see, the first tithe is for the minister's living expenses and the cost of evangelistic efforts. The second tithe is given to take care of the worthy poor and sick among us.
The second tithe is somewhat like an insurance plan for the people of God. Of course, those eligible for assistance from the second tithe fund would be those who have faithfully given to it. By second tithing, the people of God can be cared for in emergencies. Even the rich who may become sick and experience some kind of emergency requiring assistance from the church community. Basically, instead of relying on the world for our insurance, we should rely on the second tithe insurance policy God has provided to care for us.
Now, I'm sure we all know plenty of sick and poor in our churches. This does not necessarily mean that they are accounted as the worthy poor. The worthy poor are those who, through misfortune, not through mismanagement or idleness, are in need of the necessities of life and who are honestly trying to walk in the light that is given to them. Sometimes faithful, hardworking people fall on hard times. Some people help them financially, some people don't. We can all agree that this is not the kind of community that will bring everlasting results. Those who do not work, participate, and give their fair share become a demoralizing influence and become parasites. All able-bodied people must work to support themselves and the work of the gospel. We need to give the first and second tithe to ensure both the welfare of the work and the care of our brothers and sisters in our local churches, and also for the assurance of our own welfare should we need it.
Ellen White, on the subject of the worthy poor, said, "The object of the words of our Savior in Luke 12:33, to sell your possessions and give to the poor, has not been clearly presented. I saw that the object of selling is not to give to those who are able to labor and support themselves, but to spread the truth. It is a sin to support and indulge in idleness those who are able to labor. Some have been zealous to attend all the meetings, not for the glory of God, but for the loaves and fishes. Such would much better have been at home laboring with their hands to supply the wants of their families and to have something to give to sustain the precious cause."
The Sabbath School lesson draws from the first fruits instructions in Deuteronomy 14 for the blueprint information on the second tithe. About giving beyond the first tithe, Ellen White tells us, "Besides the tithe, the Lord demands the first fruits of all our increase. These He has reserved in order that His work on the earth may be amply sustained. The Lord's servants are not to be limited to a meager supply. His messengers should not be handicapped in their work of holding forth the word of life. As they teach the truth, they should have means to invest for the advancement of the work, which must be done at the right time in order to have the best and most saving influence. Deeds of mercy must be done. The poor and suffering must be aided. Gifts and offerings should be appropriated for this purpose."
In addition to this, Ellen White also gives us more wise counsel on giving according to the blueprint for a better world. She calls it systematic benevolence. In Testimonies for the Church, Volume 3, Chapter 34, entitled Systematic Benevolence, she says, "Should all whom God has prospered with earth's riches carry out His plan by faithfully giving a tenth of all their increase, and should they not withhold their trespass offerings and their thank offerings, the treasury would be constantly replenished. The simplicity of the plan of systematic benevolence does not detract from its merits, but extols the wisdom of God in its arrangement. Everything bearing the divine stamp unites simplicity with utility. If systematic benevolence were universally adopted according to God's plan, and the tithing system carried out as faithfully by the wealthy as it is by the poorer classes, there would be no need of repeated and urgent calls for means at our large religious gatherings. There has been a neglect in the churches of keeping up the plan of systematic benevolence, and the result has been an impoverished treasury and a backslidden church.
So first and second tithe should be given systematically. This will ensure the accomplishment of both the spreading of the gospel and the caring for the sick and needy among us, and will provide for our own insurance needs as well. This will also save the church from disgracing itself and dishonoring the Lord. While this might seem like a huge expense, on the contrary, it's the key to prosperity. Ellen White said, "Spiritual prosperity is closely bound up with Christian liberality. The followers of Christ should rejoice in the privilege of revealing in their lives the beneficence of their Redeemer. As they give to the Lord, they have the assurance that their treasure is going before them to the heavenly courts. The sower multiplies his seed by casting it away. By imparting, they increase their blessings."
The second tithe is the plan for taking care of the laity. It is a wise plan for your own welfare as much as it is for the welfare of others.
Now, obviously, there needs to be an organized mechanism in place for the stewardship of the second tithe. We know there is not one in place right now at the General Conference. Has there been a dereliction of duty on the conference's part regarding this? For more information on this topic, please request a PDF copy of the study from Answer Book number 4, pages 40 through 68 by Victor Hodeff.
Thank you for staying with us through the entire video. We invite you to visit our website, www.bdsda.com, to learn more about who we are and, just as important, who we are not. Please join us each week as we will continue to offer new and interesting insights for your Sabbath School studies. God bless.
Many blessings.